My name is Lady Savano,
And my name is Mia Krakow.
and our project is on the Treaty of Versailles.
The Treaty of Versailles was signed in 1919 on June 28th.
It ended the casualty-heavy World War I, which officially concluded at 11 a.m. on November 11, 1918.
The 5 main nations to sign the treaty were France, Italy, Britain, the USA, and Germany.
Other countries involved were Austria-Hungary, Bulgaria, Japan, Ottoman Empire, Portugal, and the USSR. France, the US, Italy, and Britain were also known as the Big Four.
From France, Georges Clemenceau. He was nicknamed the Tiger because of his courage, combativeness, and intransigence. He only wanted one thing, for Germany to be brought to its knees so that they may never start a war again. He was very in line with the French public in terms of political views, who wanted Germany to pay for starting the war, considering that France lost 1.4 million soldiers in the war and 2.4 million more were injured.
So the French wanted compensation since the Germans had done a lot of damage, and they wanted some arrangement that would guarantee that the Germans could never do it again.
Next, from Britain, there was David Lloyd George.
He was the prime minister and had two beliefs on how Germany should be treated, his people's view and his personal view. His people's view was simple: make Germany pay. Lloyd George didn't necessarily agree with this statement, but if he had been soft on Germany, it would have gotten him voted out of office.
Next on our list of the Big Four is American President Woodrow Wilson. Wilson was stunned by the savagery of the Great War. Wilson wanted no more secret treaties and for countries to reduce their weapons and armed forces. He wanted national self-determination, which means that people of the same nationality should not have the power to govern other nationalities. Wilson also had his 14-point plan in mind for the Treaty of Versailles. One of Wilson's biggest beliefs was the establishment of a League of Nations, a committee to discuss world issues and how to resolve them. Wilson wanted all countries to join the League to create world peace. However, the League of Nations ceased operations on April 20, 1946.
Vittorio Orlando of Italy demanded the fulfillment of the secret Treaty of London of 1915, by which the Allies had promised Italy ample territorial compensation in Dalmatia for its participation in World War I. Italy still got a piece of the treaty, even though they didn't participate in the war.
The 4 main clauses of the Treaty of Versailles were as follows. 1. Germany had to admit full responsibility for starting the war. This was a clause called the War Guilt Clause. 2. Germany therefore was responsible for all of the damages caused by the war. They had to pay reparations, mass amounts of money because they supposedly started the war. The total cost of the reparations was about $55 million. Germany was forbidden to unite with Austria. The Allies wanted to bankrupt Germany. Germany would have paid off its $55 million reparations just in 2016.
Third, a League of Nations was created to keep the world peace. Germany was not allowed to join the League. Fourth, Germany was to be disarmed. Their army was reduced to 100,000 soldiers. They were only allowed to have a small army and 6 naval ships. No tanks, air force, or submarines were allowed. The Rhineland was demilitarized, which means that Germany was not allowed to put their armies there.
Additionally, Germany also had to concede a lot of its territory.
Alsace-Lorraine was given to France.
Eupen and Malmedy were given to Belgium.
Northern Schleswig was given to Norway.
The Holstein district was given to Czechoslovakia.
West Prussia, Posen, and Upper Silesia were given to Poland.
Memel was given to Lithuania.
Saar and Danzig were put under the control of the League of Nations. The nations themselves could vote on whether or not they wanted to stay as a German state.
Estonia, Lithuania, and Latvia became free states. And being ignored or disrespected is essentially the rudest thing you could do. The Japanese took this disrespect very personally, causing their distaste toward the European countries and the U.S.
Since Germany signed the treaty accepting the War Guilt Clause, its people were infuriated that they had to pay so much money. This caused lots of unrest in German people, also aiding in the leading of them to Hitler's dictatorship. So let's see what everyone wanted in the Treaty of Versailles. The United States had an idealistic view of collective responsibility and ethnic self-determination.
France was driven largely by revenge. They had previous grudges and wanted Germany to pay for the Franco-Prussian War.
With these goals, there were also shortfalls that led to unrest. The United States had no success in their lofty goals of internationalism. Conflict raged in Eastern Europe, leading to opportunities for Nazi Germany to lift off.
France wanted revenge, which made all of their allies leave them. Their exaggeration of their hatred and vengeance caused their friends and relations to fall away. This hatred sparked political movements in Germany, leading the way for the Nazis to set in.
Italy did not receive the territory they were promised.
Great Britain had no stability, and there were revolutions all across Europe,
So really, no one in the Treaty of Versailles got what they wanted.
which paved the way for Hitler's leadership to make its way through Europe.
A good treaty is a treaty that can be enforced. And the Treaty of Versailles was not a good treaty, not because it was especially harsh, although the Germans thought it was especially harsh, but because it was harsh enough to make them mad, but it wasn't harsh enough to force them to do what the French wanted them to do.
Was outraged by the treaty. He thought it was ridiculously unfair.
Hitler joined a group called Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, or German Workers' Party. It was later renamed the Nationalsozialistische Deutsche Arbeiterpartei, which we now know as the Nazi Party.
Hitler rose to a position of prominence early on in the party. One of his most frequently used and highly effective methods of persuasion was violence. For this, he was jailed often. During his time in prison, he wrote his very popular book, Mein Kampf, or My Struggle.
Hitler participated as a speaker and organizer in electoral battles in which his political party participated. Throughout the 1920s, the Nazis gained enough support electorally to become the most powerful political group in the Reichstag.